It's great to be here and great to be talking about uranium when the uranium price has moved up. I mean, last time I was here, I think we were sitting at $40 or $50 a pound. Pine's got a smile on his face. We're all got a smile on our face. It's fantastic. So really excited about where we're at. We are a dedicated uranium company. We're not interested in any other commodity. We're not distracted by any other commodity that might be running hot for a period of time. But I can say uranium is the hottest commodity on the planet at the moment. Pardon the pun. So we're very excited to be where we are. We're geographically diverse. We've got assets in Namibia and Australia. We've got 142 million pound of assets around the world, and we've got an extensive and diverse project pipeline. We've got projects at different stages all the way through, from discoveries through to taking them through to studies. So, and we've got, underpinning all that, we've got a patented upgrade process we developed in-house that lowers the cost base for processing these styles of ores. So that adds significant value to us. And we're aggressively drilling. We've got 4 drill rigs working in Namibia right now, a 5th one starting next month, and they're drilling 25 holes per week. So we're drilling 100 holes per week in Namibia. Each hole is costing us about $1,000 a hole. Add that up. You won't hear many people talking about that. So we're pretty excited about what we're getting out of those drill rigs and some news flows coming out of it. We've got a very small and dedicated team, and I can tell you what, and as I've said before, this is probably the most exciting time to be in uranium. It's a clean energy source. The world's starting to realise that we need it, and there's a push for it. So just to talk about the projects globally, Namibia, great jurisdiction to be in, very supportive government, great people, and some exciting projects in the country. Rossing Uranium Mine have been operating since 1976 on a continuous basis. I was thinking about the Athabasca Basin and how they've gone into care and maintenance with their high grades, but the low grades in Namibia we've continued to operate. So it certainly goes well for the future, and we know that low grades work in Namibia, and Rossing an example of that. So our sort of flagship projects, the Koppies project, in the Namibia area, and also the Marinika project. Both have significant resources on those. And then in Australia, we've got the Angela in the Northern Territory is our flagship project there. But not just those 3, a lot more projects, as I say, a significant pipeline of them. From a corporate point of view, as ASX-listed companies, they need a minimum of 3 directors. We've got 3, that's all. We've got 2 executives, that's it. So we're not top-heavy in that respect. And we have a market capitalisation of 308 million at the moment. We have 308 million shares. Market capitalisation as of this morning, I think, was 200 million. So we're looking pretty good. It's moved up from when I printed this presentation last week. We've got money in the bank to support our efforts. We don't have any debt. Our major shareholders are 2 ETFs out of the US, and board and management with skin in the game. So that's important for shareholders. We're aligned with shareholders. Skin in the game is very important for them. So we've got a very aggressive drill program. We are looking at Koppies. We've got 3 drill rigs working on that. We have a resource update coming out end of this quarter, next month, and then we'll move those rigs into indicator drilling. As you would know, you can't announce financial metrics around inferred resource. You need to be an indicated resource, and that's what we're moving towards, so we can commence studies and put a line in the sand in terms of the value of these projects. And we'll also start metallurgical test work program on upgrade process on the Koppies ore. Then we've got projects like Hirabeb, Capri, 2 of the other 4 discoveries in the last 4 years. We want to take those to inferred resources and maiden inferred resources. We've still got growth projects. We've got the largest land position for nuclear fuels in Namibia. We've got a lot of exploration to do on that. So the 5th rig that comes on in March will head up to Greenfields trying to find new discoveries. And then exploration in Australia, the 2 projects, Angela and Minerva. Angela's got 31 million pound of resource. We identified from seismic survey the mineralised lens, and they've identified another lens beneath it. No one's ever drilled it. We think it's time to go and drill it and just see if there's anything there. There may not be anything there, but let's find out. Minerva, discovered in 1978, 10 drill holes greater than 10,000 ppm. Not been drilled since. We want to go and drill that, understand the structure, and understand how we're going to explore that further. So a lot of exploration to occur this year, backed by the fact that we got 15 odd million in the bank. So Namibia, as I said, fantastic jurisdiction to be in. The only country in the world with a dedicated uranium association. The Namibian Uranium Association, a conduit between explorers and producers, developers and government and general public and stakeholders. So they do a great job of promoting the country. Rossing, I said, been there operating since 1976, so 48 years of continuous operation. We have the largest land position for nuclear fuels in the country. We've got a good team of geologists, and we're looking for shallow mineralisation. So we're looking for paleochannels that have formed from, as the granites have weathered over millions of years, they've released the uranium. It's combined with the vanadium in an old river system, reprecipitated as secondary uranium, and generally less than sort of 25 metres deep. That's what we're looking for. But these have been covered over, so they're hard to find, and that's a focus of where we are in Namibia. So if you look down in the bottom right of that map, that's the Koppies project in the Namib area. The Namib area is an area we focused on because there's in excess of 300 million pound in the area. It's upstream. We targeted upstream of known resources, so we thought there was going to be uranium there, and as it turns out, there is. The Koppies project now 48 million pound. We've got two other discoveries in the area at Namib 4 and Hirabeb, and we're contiguous land position there that we've got a lot more exploration to do on. So the Koppies project, the first drill hole went in July 2019. I was sitting in a tent on site, and when we did that, and since then we've sort of slowly increased the number of rigs because we realised this was getting bigger and bigger. We went to 2 rigs in sort of July of 2022, I think it was, and 3 rigs in May last year because we've got 20 kilometres of mineralisation we want to drill out. So the resource update we put out in November last year, 48 million pound resource estimate, and we've got more drilling to do on that. And that's to the south and to the north. But what I want to focus on the Koppies project, and you won't hear the Athabasca Basin people talk about this, we have 95% of our ore within 15 metres of surface, and 50% of our ore within 6.5 metres. So that's a very, very shallow ore. We would mine it with surface miners cutting it about 0.5 metre deep each, and that would feed straight into our upgrade process. But strip ratio is very, very low. It's not deep at all. And someone said to me earlier, it's like trench digging. I said, well, it's just about like that. But so that's one of the characteristics of this area. And some of the drilling we're doing up the north of here and the north of Koppies, and these are the holes we've still got left to drill as of the last resource update. So we've been focusing on the southern area it's too hard, I've got 2 screens. The southern area on the bottom of Koppies 2 and down in Koppies 4 drilling, and also up the north. Up the north, we haven't seen mineralisation below 6 metres from surface, so we're probably going a bit far drilling 16-metre holes there, but we just want to make sure there's nothing underneath it, just in case there's a bit of mineralisation penetrated into the basement further. So it is a very good deposit in that respect. It's spread over 20 kilometres, and what we've learnt from the mineralisation style here, we can apply to our other tenements in Namibia. So that all goes well for exploration throughout this coming year. Up in the central Orongo areas, we have the Maranika project. It's only 25, 30 kilometres from Arano's Koppies project, and only about 60 kilometres from Rossing. We developed upgrade on this project. It's a low-grade project. It was the only asset we had back in 2012 when I joined the company, and we had to do something innovative or walk away. We did something innovative. We developed upgrade on it, and now it's got a life because of what we've done with that. So moving across to Oz, we need to talk about Oz because we've got 48 million pound of assets here. You can't ignore that, and one of them is 31 million pound at 1300 ppm at Angela. I talked about the fact that we've got a mineralised lens there. We've identified from seismic work. We've got a lens underneath it we want to go and drill. The high grades of greater than 10,000 ppm at Minerva, we need to go and drill those. So that's just 2 of the projects there. We've got joint venture interests with Energy Metals, also near those in the Northern Territory. So quite a bit of work to do in Australia to add value to us. But one of the things I really want to talk about is the upgrade process. It's a process that nobody else has. We developed it because we needed to give Maranika project a life. So we looked at the minerals present, their associations, and determined that Some of the minerals were interfering with what we were trying to do. So we counterintuitively decided to concentrate the gang minerals and reject them. So as opposed to conventional thinking is, well, let's just concentrate uranium. We actually did it the other way around because it wouldn't work very well. So we just concentrated calcite, clay, all those sort of minerals are in there and rejected them. So the very last stage is where we focus on concentrating uranium. And as a consequence, you're rejecting mass all the way through. Your unit operations are getting smaller and smaller. So hence your capital cost is dropping, your OPEX is dropping to the point where you produce a concentrate that's less than 5% of the mass. So less than 5% of the mass going to a leach as opposed to 100% going to a leach. It's huge cost savings in that area, and it's a very, very small leach circuit. So that's why we can talk about having a reduction of CapEx and OPEX of about 50%. It's why we've taken the upgrades taken Marinika from 93 to 5,000 ppm prior to leaching. It's also why we can reduce the acid consumption at Angela by 80%. Now, all these are done with unit, done with unit operations that are commonly found in gold-based metals mineral sands plant. We just configured them unconventionally, and hence it makes it innovative and patentable. So a lot of environmental benefits around the upgrade process, which too many to list. And in fact, if you wanted to have an ESG slide, we could have about 4 or 5 of them on this. But so many other things to talk about, we just ignore that. It's just a fantastic process that enables us to add significant value to our assets. Uranium, we talked about that. I mean, the world demand for uranium increases. They talked about, I've heard a few people say lithium bubble was all about prospective future consumption. Uranium is about current consumption, not about anything in the future, but we know there's a huge demand in the future. So we can't meet the current demand for uranium required to fuel our nuclear fleet we've currently got. So we have a huge deficit. So the only way to incentivise new production is for uranium price to go north. Now it's sitting at $100 a pound, but I believe it's going to be 150, and I think Johnny over there will probably agree with me. You go to 150, but I met with someone in London in November, and they said, "Don't tell me about uranium. I'm going to form a uranium fund, and it's only 2 months away. Uranium price is going to $500. I went, just tell us about your projects. And I'm going, okay. That's not my number, that's his number. So he's very optimistic about where uranium is going to be in the future, and I think we share the same interest, but not the same. I don't necessarily think it's mostly going to go to 500, but it's going to go a lot more than it currently is. So just in summary, we're geographically diverse, right? Namibia and Australia, great jurisdictions to be in, particularly Namibia with its history of uranium. You know, 48 years of operating, that's 2 generations of Namibians that are familiar with uranium. There's no wokeness in them. They understand the value of uranium. 142 million pound of assets in those countries, a diverse project pipeline we have, an extensive, and we developed this upgrade process has added significant value to us. It's patented, protected. We're aggressively drilling in Namibia, as I said, 100 holes, 101 last week actually, and you know, $1,000 a hole. So fantastic, program there. Enabled the fact we've got a lot of money in the bank. Good team, small team. We're strategically located. I mean, Namibia is a fantastic jurisdiction, and because we can produce a concentrate that could potentially be processed off-site from where we are mining, that adds significant value to us, and that makes it quite strategic. And as I said, uranium, well, it's a clean energy source. What better clean energy source do we need? I've been out Stellenbosch Way playing golf for a few days, taking a break, and load shedding, geez, that annoys you. If that's the way of the future in the Western world, because renewables are taking bigger part than we need, then we need to be pushing uranium very hard and nuclear very hard. So thanks very much for listening. I appreciate your time, and all the best for the rest of the conference.